Common sense isn't gone. It just needs a comeback. Common Sense Superheroes with David and Greg.
They say I'm cocky, and I say, what? It ain't bragging, mother, if you back it up. That is the stylings of one Kid Rock, and I am your host, David, and across from me is the bearded one, Gregory. Greg, nothing I like more than somebody being cocky, talking all that trash, and then going out and just getting manhandled. And that's exactly what I did last night. I talked all that trash about my coaching. I got thousands and thousands of views on social media, people coming up talking about how good a coach I am and all that. And then we go out last night and 100% crap the bed, get stomped, son.
So I can envision the headline now as least surprising thing ever. Instant karma, man. That's how life works.
I talked all that mess, got tons of views, people just talking like, yeah, you got to be hard on these kids. Well, sometimes being hard don't work. Maybe I got to try a different technique because still, no matter how many times I preach, hey, we got to be aggressive. We got to go after the ball if it gets in the air. 3 different times I watched the ball drop between second base and pitcher's mound and vice versa on the other side and in the outfield. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand it, but it is what it is. It's baseball. It's youth baseball, especially youth rec ball. I got to just get over it and get on with myself, Greg.
At that age, from what I recall playing back then, it is like I was so damn excited to have a ball even remotely in my vicinity that I might could get my hands on that I would have run over 2 or 3 of my teammates trying to make a play. What is this whole just letting it fall in the midst of a crowd?
Listen, I don't get it, and I sound like an old man every single time I say it, as do the other coaches and I, Max, Adam, and Tony. We'll be like, hey, look, a ball, if it went up in the air, I could be in left field and it's at second base, and I'm sprinting trying to get to the damn thing. I don't know if it's a different era or what, but I don't get it. And I have preached over and over. Listen, you cannot make a mistake if you're trying to be aggressive. I will not be upset with you. I promise you. If you strike out or get out, in fact, we had a kid last night, steal third base, had no business stealing third base, got called out. But I was like, look, you were being aggressive, trying to make something happen. I can't be upset. You strike out swinging, trying to hit the ball. I'm happy about it. But in some reason in the field, that does not translate. It makes no damn sense.
So, David, in a moment of reflection, what have we learned this week?
We have learned that maybe you don't want to talk so much trash or it's hard to give opinions when your team ain't even doing the same damn things you're preaching. I feel like Nick Saban when his teams are crappy and he just still has to go out there and be Nick Saban. I try to think about the good things and the good coaching that I've done and the good plays that the kids have made, but it's very damn hard when you lose. I do not like losing at all.
No, I think that's something you and I both share, that competitiveness, man. Like we talked about earlier, if the lights are on, somebody's watching, and there's a scoreboard anywhere in sight, brother, I want to be on the right side of things when it's done. But you and I've been through some losses in life. That's part of it, and there's always some life lessons to be learned in those moments. So, hopefully, with such a fine, upstanding, and mature coach that these boys possess, they learned something in their loss last night.
Well, if Adam talked, maybe they didn't learn shit from me other than the fact that I was upset. I don't care if we lose. I've said it over and over. It's how we lose. We're beating ourselves. If you give a team 5 to 6 outs an inning, they're going to beat you, and they did. I tried to give my best motivational speech. I was a little harsh. I'm not going to lie. There's been times where I'll give one that I'm like, damn, that's really good. But last night I was very upset, frustrated, and I can't even damn sleep at night when I do those games like that. But quite frustrating, Greg. You know who else is probably upset? Texas. Texas might be upset because the old Boilermakers put it on them, baby. Texas Boilermakers win last night, 79-77 in college basketball to make it to the Elite Eight.
Little known fact that some may or may not be aware of or may or may not care about, but Texas was in fact plus 7.5 on that game. And if you had any money on the Texas Longhorns, despite the fact the Boilermakers won the game, you still came out on the good side of things. And I know a guy who does a show, and he might have put that one out there.
Where would we find information like that to be available or listen to and possibly make a little extra scratch, which I need to make some extra scratch. I'm struggling over here, B rant. So maybe I need to start listening to this particular guy, whomever he may be.
Well, I can't claim to make it a daily podcast yet, but when there's some action to be had and when there's some numbers on the board that we like to fire at, we've got a show called Beliefs, Ballots, and Bets. Usually about 5 to 10 minutes a day, nothing big, but we're going to talk a little bit about some current events and some life stuff. Usually try to work in a little bit of scriptural moments in there, and then lo and behold, we throw in some gambling tips. So we tie it all together and give you a little bit of everything.
Check it out, make it happen. Other things that the Greg from Bets, Ballots, and Beliefs may have bet on last night was Iowa defeating Nebraska 77-71. Illinois takes down Houston 65-55. Didn't see that coming. I did not.
No,
I
we were
thought
on the wrong
Houston
side
was
of that
gonna
one,
make
but
a lot
we
along.
Yeah, we were 2-1 yesterday after a 3-0 day on Wednesday. So I'm been seeing the board pretty well, or at least my AI model's been seeing the board pretty well. So 5-1 on the last 6 plays. I got 3 plays I'm gonna fire out there today. So if you guys are interested, go find that show once I release it.
Go listen to the show. Arizona defeated Arkansas 109-88. That was about the only beatdown it looks like. I mean, I don't know if that was some late game stuff that happened. I mean, but
It was past my bedtime.
yeah, I definitely didn't stay up. Scoring 100 plus points in a tournament like this is freaking huge, and to get to 109, I mean, that's just ridiculous. Iowa over Nebraska, that's a big win. Nebraska, I saw somewhere they had a little issue, some coaching snafu. Thinking of that, which I got out coached last night. Did I mention that yet? That apparently helped to do that. Purdue surviving, baby. I mean,
David, we're not mentioning the other thing. We talked about the instant karma on your coaching style for the youth baseball. What about the instant karma for you talking trash for being ahead of me in the bracket challenge? And then lo and behold, one more day of games and you come meteorically crashing right back down to reality, and now you're right there tied with me.
update on Greg's $300 that's going to be coming up missing. Wes McCard apparently needs the money pretty badly. He's still out there. He's got Arizona at 600 points. Sean Plussel, my man, at 590. Brian Noble's at 570, holding strong. Kevin Hawkins is at 540. Ty is at 520. Jay Harrison is at Jonathan Harrison at 510. Jay Carp, my man Carpenter, at 510. Jonas Boschman, ham flexor at 510. Asher Barzik making a run, baby. We don't know who you are, but you're making a run at 500. Andy Berry at 490. Nate at 490. Tyler Carlton 490. And then you go down to boy, we're going to have a lot of segments on this show if people want to take up, because you got one D Smith, Daddy D, and Greg Miller, 2325s at 470. Now, I will say I have Connecticut, which is still, as of now, in the game. Greg had Florida winning it all, so he's going to be losing on that. But wow. And then you got Adam Whiting and Jesse Turner. I'm like, did you even try? Because if you're losing to me, it's like you're not even trying. Jesse's still shocking to me. Adam, I believe, was tied for the lead like a week ago, and now, boom, crashing down with me. Everybody else is still in the game. Ty is going to fall off because he has Florida still, so he won't be making it to the championship. Tyler had Houston. Adam had Houston. Everybody else has mostly Arizona and Duke, it appears, except for one Yukon Husky man who picked that. So, Greg, you might want to go ahead and warn Haley that the pocketbook's going to be a little lighter in the coming weeks.
Yeah, she heard that segment and she promptly looked over as she was listening. She goes, "Do you want to run that by me?" And I said, "Apparently I didn't." So I guess we're just gonna have to deal with that.
Overheard a talk on the phone where she got this nice little bonus and is getting herself a lovely little watch. So if you can get a watch for yourself, then Greg can pay some money to support the show, Haley.
Listen,
Just
David,
kidding, Haley. Don't be mad at him. Let's just let him ride. Let it go.
When you marry so far out of your league like I did, you give every dime and every dollar you could possibly give to keep that woman happy, and that's my mission in life.
Absolutely. High maintenance is worth it.
Mm.
You know what
I
high
didn't say
maintenance?
that, you did.
You know what high maintenance equals most time? Hot. So I'll take it. I will take it every day. But Wes McCard, boy, Wesley, we got to get him on a sports segment. My man loves sports. He is ate up with it.
It actually, every time I look at the leaderboard, it brings a little smile on my face to see Wes's name up there, because at least makes me feel better that somebody's winning. I know Wes knows his basketball. I know he's into sports. So this isn't a fluke thing. And if by some chance Wesley's listening to the show, brother, we miss you. Look forward to having you on for a segment. Maybe you could teach us a thing or two.
Former sports writer of the now debunked Thomaston Times, runs the rec department in Thomaston, so still involved in sports. I hope that Thomaston makes a comeback when it comes to the sports. But Greg, that's a little bit of the rundown off of the basketball. Another rundown we got is it ain't over when it's over. Damn it, baby, damn it. The DHS shutdown is over temporarily, I believe, son. Trump signed into an agreement to actually fund the TSA agents who will now, thankfully, God willing, get paid and get back caught up. It looks like the shutdown began Valentine's Day. How about that for a bouquet of roses for you on Valentine's to stop getting paid?
Just a bunch of theater kids calling the curtain on one scene until they start the next act. This is a big old nothing burger. I'm glad they're getting paid, but it's all political theater. None of it's real. And this is just gamesmanship. Like there is no leadership in this. This is all just gamesmanship.
It's very upsetting that I listen. They ended up getting a partial payment, I believe, up through February, so they didn't really miss a paycheck until, like, a couple weeks ago, I believe, so now they're 2.5 paychecks missed, and look, I don't know what TSA agents make, and I don't know, but I'm assuming that 2.5 paychecks missed, I know for myself would hurt, and I know it's hurting them, and it's all over political fodder and ridiculousness. Again, Democratic shutdown, say what you will, that's what it was. Even though we succeeded, we ended up getting rid of Christy Noem and tried to give you what you want. They tried to take the cake, didn't care, so they shut it down. But thankfully, they will be getting paid again.
Yeah, it's like I say, it's unfortunate that the powers that be and the decision makers and the people in charge can just jerk around with people's livelihoods like that to make to try to make a point. And again, it was still, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. This accomplished nothing in any way, shape, or form. All this did was raise the temperature a little bit, put a little pressure on some people, and create some undue and unnecessary tension to try to force something to happen politically. I don't know. In case you can't tell from the tone of my voice, I'm about tired of this shit, David. I'm ready for some real leadership.
If they accomplished anything, it's accomplished long lines at all the airports, and it accomplished, which this is going to hurt long term. The long lines after ICE came in, I mean, TS, immigration, whatever you want to call it, ICE, let's just call it that, came in. They ended up helping out a little bit as far as the lines, getting people water, getting things organized. But we will get back to normal hopefully soon when a lot of the TS agents will start coming back to work. But it may take a little longer than expected because of this shutdown, which can't say I blame them. Upwards of 500 TSA agents have quit, and I don't freaking blame them. I don't want to get paid not knowing. I don't want somebody silliness in Washington who still gets paid to decide whether or not I get a paycheck. The Senate, the House, every damn body, when somebody, a government employee, are not getting paychecks, every damn body that's in charge of that should not get paid. And how we can't agree on that makes no damn sense to me. You want to tell me Chuck Schumer needs to get his damn paycheck? He's sitting pretty. You're going to make that decision to shut some shit down, don't get paid.
Well, and even when, Senator Kennedy floated it out there to keep the Congress from getting paid while this was going on. And again, it's obviously the congressmen and the senators are in a completely different financial situation than our local TSA workers, but at least it's some sense of solidarity and it showed some form of unity to at least, float that out there. But I mean, again, how as all the Democratic senators and politicians that veto that, turn that down, like you're sitting on millions of dollars in the bank account. You know you're in control. You know you're going to rectify this and it's all going to come out in the end. Why would you not at least say, hey, you know what? Yeah, we'll sit this one out with you. If you really believed in the cause, why would you not at least say, look, I'll suspend my paycheck for a month or two, too, while we figure this out. We'll stand with you. But no, they just put them in front of the live bullet, said you don't get paid and you deal with it. And yeah, it's another perfect example of how screwy our governmental systems are. None of this makes a damn bit of sense from an efficiency standpoint. And that's why when you go to Hartsfield, Atlanta, it's a crapshoot. You don't know if it's going to take you 2.5 hours or 25 minutes to get through there because it all depends on what kind of day those TSA folks are having.
Thankfully, being a homebody, I don't travel too much, and I would be upset if I had to go 4 hours early. My kids might like it because they can watch planes land and take off, but after a while, even that gets boring. It's ridiculous that they, like you said, that they continually getting paid while some people aren't. But what do they care? Some of this high ranking senators feel like they're the elite of the elite. They don't care. They just want to make a decision. As bad as Trump gets his whole elitist attitude, don't act like you're higher than mighty when you're just not caring if people get paid or not. I mean, it makes no damn sense.
It's and again, it's very cliche to say it, but if you just take a step back and what we always talk about, you look at it from a 30,000-foot view, that common sense view, the 100 senators and what 435 Congress people, like these are the 550 or so plus people who are supposed to represent the rest of us. Look at those people and tell me how, in any way, shape, or form, they represent the rest of us. Those people are so detached from the realities any of you guys are facing, anything Dave and I are facing. These guys have no clue what we deal with day to day. And so anything they're doing up there just rings hollow. And this is just a late example. I'm glad the TSA thing worked itself out. I'm glad that we made some sort of, progress on this thing to get things moving again. But, forgive me if I'm not going to celebrate this as a major victory, because at the end of the day, this is just more pointless bullshit that our government's trying to force down our throats.
Probably gonna be delayed, and it's gonna be again because I promise you they're gonna try every damn chance they get to shut down anything Trump does. They'll shut down 3 more times before he's out of office. I guarantee you that. Speaking of wanting to represent us and wanna be like us, if somebody by chance is, let's just say, blue collar worker, you best believe that the old Hollywood elite's gonna call that out because Jimmy Kimmel came out about Mark Wayne Mullins taking over as the DHS secretary and saying like, he was a plumber. So now we got a plumber in charge of our homeland security or whatever.
Hey, David,
Greg?
there's more to that story, He was a plumber. Do you know why he was a plumber?
Because he
Because
took
his
over his.
dad was a plumber, and his dad
Yes,
owned a plumbing business that when his dad got really sick, the business was failing. And Mr. Mullen took over that small little business and turned it into a multi-million-dollar plumbing operation, which, I don't know, that sounds like a success story. And maybe if he's had success there, he knows a little bit about success in general, and maybe he can get some things done in Congress. Or
that goes
now he's part of the DHS, so even better.
that goes to show you that if you're a low blue collar guy, you have zero respect from Jimmy Kimmel, apparently. Although they're quick to praise AOC for being a bartender, God forbid, which I'm fine. Hey, listen, you got to come up from the bottom, but the audacity to come out and say, just throw out plumber. Hey, you know when plumbers are very important? When that toilet's overflowing, the plumber is the most important guy in my life. Okay.
You know what
He's
else
my
you ain't got to
favorite
worry
guy
about?
ever.
You ain't gonna have no AI plumber anytime soon, I bet.
Hell no. That's one thing I almost want to push my kids into trades because anybody in marketing and whatnot, that's going to be gone. But I'm just saying,
David, I'm a professional consultant and I own part of an insurance agency. I got no hope.
you got to get retirement funded quickly, my friend. But just the elitist attitude of Jimmy Kimmel to say something like that, he knows no better than that. Just and yet people will laugh and chuckle and all that. The same damn people who are working those same blue collar jobs that have that liberal mindset will do that. Will be okay with it.
I bet he
Speaking
wouldn't have
of,
said it to Mark Wayne's face,
I bet he wouldn't either.
or at least not but
Speak,
once.
speaking of AI, which what are we doing? What are we doing, Greg? Let me just show you a video here if I can get it to play, and just what are we doing?
Suspense is
Common
killing me.
sense isn't gone.
Nope, that's not the video I wanted.
That was not it.
What are we doing here?
I mean, the AI robot is already more nimble than Joe Biden was.
Well, he looks very similar. It's as if they made a prototype of Joe Biden. What on earth are we? Why are we creating people to take over the earth? What are we doing? Like, how stupid can you be?
It's like all the movies we spent time watching as a kid, like the dystopian novels about robots. I mean, this is Terminator, and it even looks kind of like a Terminator. I mean, I don't know. You sit there and I don't know, David, you and I are both pushing 50. And so we grew up in a generation where we thought by now we'd have flying cars and teleportation terminals and things of that nature. Forgive us if we're a little skeptical for any of the, the advancements that are promised to us, because it just hasn't happened the way we thought it would. But oh man, this is some frightening stuff, because you're looking at it and go, okay, this is real now. Like we are on the cusp of virtual driving cars where nobody has to drive a car anymore, where you can have robots waiting on you hand and foot. You talking about replacing anything like that people just do, those repetitive things. I mean, it's starting to come together and you're starting to realize the severity of, okay, we are about to go through a major transitional phase in our society. I don't know, man. It's creepy to look at visually, and especially let's be real. I mean, you got one of the most beautiful women the world has ever seen in Melania, and what is just a generic, plain, fat robot walking out with her. Optics weren't real good in my opinion, but you got to be impressed with the technology, and you got to cross your fingers and certainly say your prayers that we can keep some semblance of control over this technology and use it for our advantage and not let it get away from us.
Well, the scary part is now, yes, you see that's a robot walking and you showing it. It don't take much to put skin on that bad boy. It don't take much to put some rubber mold that looks like a human. Heck, they make sex dolls that look like super realistic. What's stopping you from throwing that onto that
Do
robot?
they? I didn't know that.
I've heard. I don't know. They out of my price range. I've checked. Credit ain't good enough to get one. But I think Brick would help
I
put
thought
in
UPS gave good Christmas bonuses.
I think Brick would help put into that just for me to leave her alone. She'd be like, "Yes, I'll help pay for that." But it ain't far from it, and I just think it's terrifying. And as far as AI from a standpoint of like helping you write, things like that, learning stuff, I like that part of this is the scary part.
The most terrifying thing about AI to me is the fact that I know human nature pretty well. And I know the fact that ultimately, as long as humans are in control, that might be the scary part because, like you said, I mean, AI has already turned into nothing but porn and it's going to turn into sex robots. It
Yes.
will, it is technology that unequivocally could be some of the most positively influencing, it could drastically change the world for the better, but like you said, we'll use it for porn and sex robots and everything nefarious, and or me using it for gambling models. It just we got to gain control over this. But I think ultimately what this is going to be is it's going to be another microscope to show really how far we as humans have fallen. Because every time you give us some sort of new world technology, we just don't use it for good, and that's my fear.
Anytime there's something made, created, technology, whatever, guys being the perverts we are, the first thing we think is, how can we bang it? And you best believe somebody's can't wait to bang a robot. I mean, there's some guy just chomping at the bit trying to make it happen. It's going to happen. Sadly, that's the case. But I posted this video last night. My friend Jessica commented on it, and she also is terrified of AI taking over. And then she had a article about AI teachers going to possibly replace real teachers. You're just going to go in a classroom, and it's going to be a big screen to where AI is just teaching the kids, and it's going to take over. And it's a sad scenario.
Well, it is, and not to pivot too far down that wormhole and terrify anybody that might be listening to this, but that's we already are living in a world where it's damn near impossible to tell truth from fiction, real from fake, and all that stuff, and that that's going to get a whole lot worse, and more people get 95% of any information they get right out of that little device in their hand. And it is not going to be hard with the advent of AI. And the more AI takes over for most of what's on that device to be inaccurate, made up by somebody. That is, and I don't know if maybe it's just me and because my brain works differently, or maybe other people just hadn't got to that point yet. That's the part that's most terrifying to me because I already spend way too much time scrolling through the internet and scrolling through social media, not knowing what I can believe, and that's just going to continue to get worse because, again, people are going to use this for nefarious means. People are going to intentionally create stuff to mislead people and send people down bad paths. We know it. That's human nature. And that terrifies me because if this thing becomes smarter than we are, and let's be real, it probably already is smarter than most of us, how do we have a chance to compete against that when we already don't know what's real and what's not?
If 2020, 14 days to slow the curve didn't teach us anything other than the fact that we are easily controlled and manipulated by humans, by one Dr. Fauci, who, good Lord, we let that guy tell us what to do. We were manipulated by him. What you think is going to happen when a computer is in charge or a robot's in charge that has all the things you like and knows every single way that you can be manipulated? We're going to be super easily manipulated. Every time they do something like this, it's a test to see how far they can actually go with it. 2020 was the start of the downfall and the demise of the way things as we know it. And it's a scary, scary thought process that we were so easily manipulated back then. I won't try to get into super conspiracy theory mode, but by God, 2020 is the start of all evilness to me.
I don't think that was the start of it. I think that was the moment where they
The
thought they might have had a little more
crevices.
control. Yeah, they thought they might have been at the tipping point, and they could take full control. And thank God there was half of our country and half of the world essentially that stood strong, said, we're not quite ready to give up all of our rights and all of our freedoms just yet. It is as weird as it was, and I think even going through those early moments in 2020, we all kind of had that feeling, go, man, this is weird. This is something different. And then as it kept lingering on, those of us who were maybe a little ahead of the curve as to realizing what was going on in the psyop and the controlling nature of it. And at first, it was fun, man. The government was giving me PPP loans. I wasn't having to work. I was making more money. Like, this was great. But after 2 or 3 months, I started going, well, I don't know how long you can keep this up. And then they tried to do that shit for another year and a half. I think 2020 was just a point where they tried to push us over the tipping point, and we weren't quite ready to go off the cliff just yet. But yes, they will try again, and it will invariably be some form of AI, robotics, and stuff like that they will try to use to push us over the cliff finally, to where we just give up all of our freedom, all of our controls, and just say, fine, just give us universal income, make sure I'm fed and watered, and I'll be quiet and I'll be good. And I ain't that way.
Maybe I'm bitter because in 2020, as an essential worker, as my wife and I were, when all our friends were sitting at home drinking White Claw slushies and getting hammered, Tyler, Carlton, talking to you, getting hammered and getting paid. Hell, we still had to work. There was no day off of work. Didn't miss one day. They were like, "Oh, it's very important that you stay home and don't go out." I'm like, "Well, why the hell I got to go to work then? Like, do we not care about the grocery store workers? If it was that bad, why are the grocery store workers working? Like, what the hell? You can't
I
claim
mean,
it's bad as it was, but only for certain people. Only certain people can't get it.
look, at the end of the day, they shut down schools and libraries and gyms,
A damn
but they left
beach. California shut down the
they left
beach.
open bars and strip clubs and nightclubs.
Exactly. So you should be wearing a mask in a strip club. I'm just saying. Has some smells you may not want to know. There was a guy that we won't go down to 2020 craziness, but maybe in a future episode. But I've heard of guys out there in the middle of the ocean on a surfboard surfing by himself, and the damn ski patrol rolls up on a jet ski and tells him he has to go in and go home. What the hell is he going to give the dolphin COVID? What the hell are we doing? But
Well, it was
don't get me
again. I think
started.
it was all aside. It was just an effort to see how willingly we would give up any of our autonomy and our freedoms. And again, you think about, like, man, eh, think about walking down the beach alone, nobody in sight, and a law enforcement officer coming up to you and hassling you for not wearing a mask or for even being outside at all. And I don't know, dude. But if you think about it, since then, David, I don't know that things have gotten a lot better, because we still see shit every day and every week that you look at and you just shake your head and go, who do they expect to fall for this crap? Like, we're not stupid.
When I see somebody driving in a car by themselves with a mask on, I almost want to take a picture and show my kids and be like, "Hey, this is what you call a moron." I just
I
want you to know. If you're an Uber driver and there's somebody in the car, I get it. But if you're by yourself and you got a mask on, I'm sorry, you're being misled. I don't want to say moron, that was rude, but you're being misled by somebody.
I think you were close with the other word. You and I've touched on it a little bit. If you are not suffering from some legitimate, like, immunodeficiency disorder or something like that, if you are for any reason, I don't care, in public, in a car, if you are for any reason at this point still wearing a mask, we've talked about, we need to reinstitute mental institutions. Those people need to be first in line for the mental institute. If you're still wearing a mask, you are broken mentally. Something is wrong with you and it will not be fixed. Those people all need to seek professional help. If you wear a mask for any reason other than a legitimate autoimmune deficiency, you're broken.
Wearing mask has affected kids so much since 2020 that it's not even funny. The mental health has been a huge decline, and a lot of kids preferred the mask because it was a way to keep them hidden or whatever and away from society, and that was a way to not let them go out and have to talk to people. I mean, that's the stuff that is affecting the mental health of kids these days more than anything. It's almost like you put a mask on, you're like, "Well, I ain't have to show no emotion." You can't see emotion. You can only see so much in the eyes. But that hurt more than anything, and it killed me to see me put my kindergartner at the time on a bus with a mask on. Eh, I was a good boy and did it, but by God, how silly was that in hindsight? The ridiculousness of it. Thankful that they were able to actually go to school, but hell, a mask on a kid when it was just talk about universal income and how we worried about AI uh, taking over a lot of the jobs that's going to end up leading to a universal income. Yeah, listen, that sounds great. I can just sit home and do whatever. There's no sense of purpose with it. You have no sense of purpose when you just giving money every day. You don't have a job to go to. That's going to affect mental health sevenfold, much like the mask did. You got to have a purpose in life and jobs. Yes, I listen. I hate going to work. Despise it, but it is interaction with people. You have people that you pay them a bunch of money to sit home. Guess what? They won't see another person. They'll go inside and talk to that AI robot or that damn sex doll they got. I I don't know.
I think for the greater good, and I'm gonna make this statement now. I have not spent any time thinking about this, so this may be the stupidest thing I've ever said.
Most
But
likely,
the
that's what we
the
do.
the moment we institute universal basic income, and let's be real, it's probably coming at some point during our lifetime. Something like that will probably happen. There needs to also be a absolute limiting regulation on the amount of internet a person can consume within one day.
Yep,
That's the
there
only
should
hope.
be a
Because if
cap.
if you're gonna have people sitting around with nothing to do and no purpose, we gotta at least cut the internet off to where they only get like an hour or 2 a day, so they gotta go outside, they gotta find something to do because that's to be the only hope. Otherwise, we are gonna have an entire society full of just vegetables of people just sitting there scrolling their phones 12 hours a day.
It's a depressing life. I mean, you see some of these kids, and I joke, and it happens, which my kids have gotten better because mainly we forced them to not took away their iPads, and that was because they don't ever practice baseball, it drive me crazy, but we limit YouTube, but I've seen my kids I'll pick on my kids first before I pick on anybody else. Watch somebody play a video game when we have said video game. And you're like, well, you watch people play sports instead of going to play sports. It's a little different, I feel like, but a video game, if I'm watching a video game, why wouldn't I play it?
David, I got some firsthand knowledge. Our best friends, they've got a 15-year-old kid. His screen name, I believe, is Midnight. Shout out Connor. Connor Nobles is like a legit. I don't know whether it's Twitch or Stitch or one of these things, but he streams live once or twice a week, and will get thousands of people watching him live play some video game that I'm looking at going. This is barely to the like technological levels of Pong. Like this is not even a good video game. It's the most basic, like it's just controlling some dude, jumping around, collecting stuff, and has thousands of people watching him, sending him tips. I shit you not, like he'll make $10,000, $12,000 some months just from following streams.
Good
And this
God.
is a 15-year-old kid sitting in his room playing video games. And again, I don't knock it. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm trying to find a way to make a buck any way I can. So I'm trying to see if we need to get him on the show, help our followers,
Hell
or
yeah,
what.
we do.
Come
I
on the
need to
show,
start
Midnight.
playing
We'd love
video
to have you.
games. You
But
wanna
yeah, I mean,
come watch me
it's a
play
legit.
Angry Birds? I'll stream me playing Angry Birds and see how many likes we get or tips.
But
I
you're right, and I mean, how many times like, I remember my kids used to sit there and watch YouTube videos of other kids opening stuff, and I'm going, "What are we doing?" Like, but it's a thing, man.
It is, and I get it. Listen, I loved watching sports as a kid, but if I was sitting there watching a game and somebody said, "Hey, you wanna go outside and play baseball?" I would in a second jump up and go play baseball other than watch baseball. There was rarely a game would happen where I'd rather watch it than go play it myself. Football, the same
Every
deal.
bedroom game of Nintendo baseball almost invariably led to a front yard game of home run derby.
Absolutely. And speaking of games and some of the games kids play, it drives me so crazy. We got an Xbox One, like the top of the line, 4K gaming and all that. The games look so realistic and all that. And I'll find my kids playing Roblox or damn Minecraft. It's like 8-bit. I'm like, this shit looks like Excite Bike on Nintendo.
That's what Connor plays. I think it's Roblox. Now that you mentioned it, and again, it has people following him, sending him money to watch him play. It's craziness, dude.
I'm
I
like,
don't get it.
we got 4K. Madden looks like you're watching a video game, but you're gonna play a game with blocks, 8-bit blocks. I mean, hell, Mario Brothers had better graphics. I'm like, it boggles my mind. I'm like, why the hell did I spend all this money when I could have bought you a Game Boy from 1988 and it'd have been just as happy, apparently. That's my fault for doing that, I guess.
We're getting old, Dave.
We're getting old. You see your boy Alan Rickson ended up not getting charged. Did we talk about that last time? Him
Yeah, we
not being
talked about that
charged?
on Wednesday.
Yeah, I get so confused. But he is not getting charged, as he should not, because the body cam shows that he was in the right. Greg, what you got planned for the weekend? Anything?
This is I think our last weekend without plans. We are entering that phase of life with my oldest daughter Bailey. God love Bailey's my beautiful old senior child who's about to go to Athens for college, and we are into that stage of life between prom and graduation and all the
Jeez.
things. Man, we got something coming up every single weekend. And then we got anniversary and birthday for Haley. So we got a trip planned for that. So yeah, things are going to be hectic for the next 5 or 6 weeks. So I think this weekend we are going to lay low, just kind of chill, try to stay around the house, maybe get a little time out by the pool, and try to just recover before the festivities begin starting next week.
Stop me if you've heard this. I got baseball all weekend. My wife is taking my youngest to Douglasville, which is about an hour and a half, hour 45 away. Tomorrow to play a couple games. I have a rec ball game for my older two, and then Sunday my wife's going back to Douglasville with Sutton, and then I'm going to take my middle boy up to the Coop in Gainesville to play with the Buford travel team. So busy weekend of me getting more frustrated at baseball. I can't wait to be there's a lot more white than there is black in the O'Hare these days, and I don't see any change in sight. It's stressing me out, and it drives me crazy, but I actually love it.
Got to make a request for those of you who are listening to the show who happen to be the parents of the kids on the team that David coaches. If any of y'all could submit some videos of him in action, I think it would be
Oh,
really good for our followers to see David live between the sidelines as he's in the heat of the moments. Any of you guys that are out there seeing David do his thing out on the field in the coach's box, y'all grab some quick video clips and send them my way or post them online, and we'll work them into the show and see if we can't make my boy go famous here.
I did not realize it, but I have quite a few Davidisms, as they called, that I've thrown out over the years. Actually, Barbara pointed out the fact that I said, Lisa Sutherland said the fact that I was like, hey, you're an athlete, act like an athlete. Sometimes they just don't even act like it, look like an athlete. But, Ashley was saying that, one time, which I even forget some of this crap I say, there was a kid eating in the dugout, and I said, "It's game time, not snack time. Like, get your damn lunchbox out of here," which is I still stand by. Don't eat in the dugout. And, last night, I put my oldest boy at shortstop, who's a lefty, so it was a lefty shortstop, which is odd. So I give him did great, though. He's probably my best fielder on the team. So I ended up putting him at shortstop, so I give him a little bit of a break on this play, but runner at first base, ground ball to shortstop. He has it. He runs right by the guy running the second and throws it to first and get the out. And I come out the dugout, obviously furious, because I'm like, all you had to do was reach out and touch him. He's like, well, do like that. I said, next time, just hold his hand and double dutch or something. Do something. Act like you know the guy. And it was just,
Yeah, I don't know, and I've noticed this. Like I said, and I didn't have quite the experience of watching 3 boys as raising them, but watching Bailey grow up playing softball, and then watching Maddie's cheering for basketball. The lack of situational awareness of kids that again at 11, 12, 13 years old, you're going, you ought to know how the game is played by now.
baseball
I'm
IQ.
with you. That's the most frustrating thing when I'm trying to watch youth sports these days is, man, by the time I was that age, I'd been playing ball so long, like it was just second nature. I knew the situation. I knew where the ball, like you knew everything that was about to happen and what you would do in that scenario. But man, it's like these kids, and I guess it's just because they don't watch sports the way we watched sports growing up. They didn't play as much, but and that whether it's baseball, basketball, anything I watch now, the complete unawareness of situational stuff, and that, like you said, when you can just tag a guy or when you got an opportunity to turn to and they don't even make an effort, there are things where you're sitting there like, have you ever seen the game? Do you understand the rules? And by this time, they should have been playing for 7 or 8 years by now.
Listen, it's baseball IQ is non-existent, it seems, with a lot of kids these days. There's a rare exceptions. I think most of them have gone to travel ball, but a few of them even not even the case. But like I said, watch baseball is all I ask. If not watch, I spent money and bought them the video games of MLB The Show, which is damn near a real game now. Like I said, like Madden, you're playing a real baseball game. I buy every MLB The Show that comes out, wanting them to play it. I go up there, they're not playing it. What? Just playing that alone, you actually know where to go with the ball if you get it.
Just for clarification, Brooke does know that's total bullshit and you buy those games for yourself, right?
She does when I'm sitting on the couch playing the hell out of it. My
Okay.
Diamond Dynasty team is badass, son. You don't want to handle it. You can't handle
Just making
it.
sure she didn't fall for the crap
I
line
got
and
a
you buying it for the
99
kids.
Acuna is my leadoff guy. It's a beast. But this is but they play the dumbest games. One time, this is no lie. You can ask Brooke as my witness. I was outside. I pulled the cars off the driveway. I was pressure washing the driveway to get it cleaned. And I shit you not, I get hot. I come inside, get me a thing of sweet tea. I look on the video game. My oldest boy, Lawton, is playing a damn game about pressure washing a fake car on the game. I'm like, you've got to be shitting me that I'm out here pressure washing when you can come out and actually pressure wash, and he's playing a game about pressure washing. They got games with regular jobs now. There's a car wash game, a damn cooking game. I'm like, just do it. Go pressure wash. I like to lost my shit that day. Oh, man. You know how close I was to throwing that damn Xbox into the trees? Even though I paid for it, I was going to throw that shit into the trees.
Sounds like maybe that's some bad parenting.
It's apparently was. I'm blaming Brooke, not me, because I was ready to chunk that shit. That's it. We forgot to say episode 23. This episode Jordan, baby. MJ in the Heezy, baby.
Oh, man, we should have done better. We need to start over. We got to
I
honor the
know.
GOAT better than what we just put on
We
tape.
should. Maybe we'll wait till we get to 45, then we'll do another one. That's it, episode 23. Like Greg said before we got on, Braves undefeated this season so far. So if you're listening to this today, it may change after tonight, but as of today, the Braves are undefeated. Baseball's underway. O'Neal Cruz, buy some damn sunglasses. That was pitiful. Absolutely pitiful. Before we go, Greg, did you watch the opening day/night game on Netflix? Look, it was phenomenal. I thought it looked crystal clear. It was great. They had the trolleys come out for San Francisco. They had cabs come out for New York. The pregame celebration and all that. I get it. It's the first game on Netflix. They're going to go all out, but they went all out. They had these drones that came up and they all had like powder in them, and they released the powder and it ended up making an American flag. Just everything around it. They had a huge flag that was in the shape of the United States of America, which I was shocked being in San Francisco. I was like, somebody's going to boo or sit down for the national anthem. But
That's yeah, I didn't get to watch it, but that's refreshing. I'm glad you shared that. That's, sounds like one of those moments where for whatever reason, maybe we're given a little bit of hope that things aren't totally gone in our society. And I still think we all spend too much time on these screens, which makes everything a lot worse than what it is. If you get out and you put some grass under your feet, and you talk to real people face to face, maybe even look them in the eye, shake their hand, something like that. It's not that bad of a world out there for the most part. Most of us can still get along and coexist. Most of us still kind of like living here in America. But when you get online or you put a keyboard in front of you, we all just like to bitch and moan and be miserable. And that's just the reality.
We're not that different, that's for sure. And another thing I almost did to put my foot in my mouth, when they were talking about who's going to sing the national anthem, they brought out a guy who was a Navy, looks like he was a Navy shipman or something. I was like, what is in the chorus? I was like, okay. I was even telling my wife, I was like, I mean, that's cool and all, but I'm like, it's the first game of the season. Can we not get a big name, like a big celebrity or something that can come out and sing, especially on Netflix, being the first game? You gotta have somebody a big name. And boy, I was wrong.
Well, I think the issue was that you were standing in a coach's box on third base near Atlanta, Georgia, so they couldn't get you to San Francisco for that game.
They could not.
You could have sung it, couldn't you?
I could have sang it. I wouldn't have messed up the words like that one guy did for I forget what game it was, but he messed up. But I should have this guy's name that actually ended up singing the national anthem. Wow. Showed out, was spectacular, was phenomenal. And I was like, I need to shut up because it was a beautiful rendition of the national anthem. I was very proud. And I don't care who you could have brought out. You could have brought Sabrina Carpenter out there and it wouldn't have been as good. It was phenomenal. So I, again, almost made a fool of myself. which is coming routine basis. But great first game for Netflix. I was impressed by it. So far, I'm loving baseball being back on.
And I'll admit something, and you and I talk about kind of things that get us emotionally. I am still one of those guys that hat over my heart, the national anthem in a ballpark sometimes still gets me a little misty eyed. Certain parts of, like, and especially if
Yeah.
it's one of those renditions where somebody is absolutely nailing it, and you can tell, and I don't call me crazy, you can tell when somebody's singing it if they feel what they're singing, and if they feel it, I feel it. And I'm telling you, I still love this country. I bitch and complain just like we all do, but I love America. I want to fight for America if I can. And that song still gets little tears in my eyes every now and then in those moments. And part of it's nostalgia, part of it's being in a baseball park, usually with my family. And you just look around, and despite all the craziness and all the shitty stuff we deal with, you have some of those moments where you still have that clarity and that sense of we're all going to be all right. We all still live each other. We're all still united, even when it doesn't feel like it.
Didn't quite feel it when Fergie sang it at the All-Star game that year. Wow. Ugh. Or Carl Lewis when he did it. Ooh, that was rough.
There have been
Felt
some
it
bad ones.
felt it when Whitney Houston sang it. Although it broke my heart when I found out that it was lip synced. I was like, "What? How you gonna?" But I get it. It's for time. I understand. But she sang it originally, but then she lip synced it live. But with the war going on, stop me if you've heard this. With the war going on in Iraq or Iran, rather, it hits you right in the old Whitney Houston. Boy, man, I wish she wouldn't like crack as much as she did.
That is of
It's a
all
shame.
of the wasted talent stories, Whitney's got to be up there near the top because
Mhm.
she was special, man. And I again for the younger generation, go listen to some Whitney Houston. Do yourself a favor. You want to hear a beautiful black woman with a voice that you just cannot compete with. Go listen to Whitney Houston, man. She was special, gone way before her time, and love makes you do some seriously crazy things. And Bobby Brown was her poison, and Lord knows he ruined that woman.
I want to correct you there. From the documentaries I've seen, Bobby was not the greatest of influences, but Whitney did a lot of that on her own. Everybody gives Bobby a bad flack. It wasn't exactly Bobby. It was her. I mean, Bobby was having to be side piece to this because she was dating this chick named Robin. Whitney actually had a girlfriend on the side and had a lot of that came from her. I'm just saying it's not all Bobby Brown. Don't be hating now. But back to Beautiful Black Woman, when it comes to Whitney Houston. When she was I Wanna Dance with Somebody, Whitney Houston, holy mackerel, son. Think I didn't watch that video a time or two? Smoke show. And also, speaking of Beautiful Black Woman with a phenomenal voice, can we just have Jennifer Hudson sing everything from here on out? Jennifer Hudson's super popular,
Spectacular.
does not get the credit she deserves. Even if she gets the credit, it's not enough because, man, every single time I've gotten a wormhole the other day of her singing off the cuff, just gospel hymns. Please. I mean, if that'll make freaking Satan turn religious, boy, girl could sing, flat out sing. More Jennifer Hudson, please.
The world could use that, and especially with what she sings and how she sings it, put as much of that out in this universe as we can possibly get.
Yep. Well, that's it. Episode 23 in the books. I got my AC guy on the thing there. So check us out. Check out our socials. We appreciate everything you've done for us. Anything else great before we go?
That's it, man. Y'all like this? Rate it. I forgot we hadn't been telling people to rate it. Give us a 5-star rating on the podcast thing. Other than that, the usual stuff, man. Y'all get in your Bible, say your prayers, love each other, and tell the truth.
All right. Peace.